How's it, Albie? Can you tell us what it means to be a specialist consultant and what kind of work you've been doing, specific to your area?
Yeah, it's been an interesting term, a specialist consultant. I had to figure it out myself a little bit. But I guess it's anything it takes to help the team do well in the World Cup. So do a bit of both, batting and fielding, mostly focus around the bowling for now. And do some work with the sort of the low order batters, swing work and stuff like that.
And just in terms of the bowling, it's been pretty noticeable how varied and excellent South Africa have been, whether it's pace on, pace off, etc. What have you focused and worked on the most?
Look, we've been based in Ahmedabad, and the wicket there has been really good for batting. So, as a bowler, you don't have too many options. And batsmen these days thrive on hitting sixes. So it's all about trying to take that length away, be a little bit unpredictable, to stop them scoring those sixes. The days are gone where guys just rotate and either boundary or a 4-year in there. So that's mostly been the focus. But like I said, Ahmedabad, out of all the venues, I think is the best wicket to bat on so far that I've seen. So it's been tough work.
How's it, Albie? Do you think it's too soon to panic that South Africa might go a long way in this tournament?
Just go the first part again?
Do you think it's too soon, as South Africans, we kind of panic and go, oh my God, they might do it this time?
I don't like to make statements about that. I think we were in a very tough group. That game against Afghanistan still gives me nightmares, and that could have gone anyway. So, I guess the first box is ticked, getting through to the next stage. And to me, the World Cup starts now. Every game will be a tough game. Luckily we'll be in Ahmedabad again, where we sort of used to the conditions now. So let's see. And
you and India go back a long way. And I wonder what it's like for someone who's not Indian or Pakistani to be in India when India are playing Pakistan.
Let me just understand correctly, those two teams specifically playing against each other? Yeah, it's a big game. I think you can see with, there was even a pre-match show, Pakistan-India, so it means a lot. And I also think, added pressure comes with games like that, where these two teams really want to get one over each other. So from a playing point of view, I think India has played, some very good T20 cricket over the last even 2 years, where, Pakistan, you can feel they're sort of still trying to find a way to do it. So like I said, pressure massive, even more than just a normal World Cup game.
Hi, Albie. You've spoken about the bowling now, and I had a look into the death bowling in the last 4 overs of all the games. It seemed good. You guys took, I think, 8 wickets in that period for 109 runs, and I think conceded 8.9 runs an over. Are those good numbers for death bowling, and what do you put that down to?
Look, I think you first have to start where our guys play their T20 cricket most, in South Africa. And the wickets there, how do I put it nicely, is not the best, or not best suited for T20 cricket. So guys get away with a lot in South Africa. When you get over here, especially this time of the year where the wickets are still good before the summer, your variations, your slow balls, and all those type of things sort of, they don't play such a big role. So it's really focusing on nailing your Yorkers. And I feel that's a skill that's sort of disappeared, not only with us, but at most teams in the world. If I have to ask you now, right now, who's the best death bowler in the world, you can probably name one, which will be Bumrah, and he's got a very good Yorker. So it's really just focusing on those skills that I wouldn't say bowlers forgot, but with all the variations that come into play, I think bowlers can get clouded by that. So it's basically focusing on those basics, and then using ground dimensions. We had one big boundary, just small adjustments like that.
En dan wonder ek of jy en Morney radio stilte handhaaf voor Sondag se wedstryd, of gesels julle maar bietjie.
There's no contact.
Hi Albie, this side on your right.
Sorry, how's it?
We're nearing the end of the league stage. Are you surprised by the performance of some of the associate teams, or did you anticipate the same? Thank you.
I'm not surprised. I think associate cricket has grown a lot the last couple of years. They've had opportunities at World Cups like this where they play. So I'm not surprised. Like I said, batting conditions is really, really good. And as we know, this format, T20 cricket, brings the teams close together, because one guy on his day can win you the game. So I'm not surprised, no.
As you said, your bowling has been generally been good, but Kagiso Rabada has been a bit off the boil and had a nightmarish game against Afghanistan. So is it a bit of a concern? And as a consultant, how do you work with him, especially he's entering a crucial stage of the tournament?
It's not a concern. I think if you look around T20 cricket, that can happen to any bowler at any stage where, the pressure just gets to you and you maybe have an off day, but he's still our premier fast bowler, and we're going to double down on him and back him all the way. So I think that's the only way to go. If you get too tactical or technical now with guys like that who knows what they're doing, you can confuse them. So for him, it's just a fact of accept that performance, move forward, and be better next time.
Hi, Albie.
How's it going?
Yeah. Albie, obviously it's been a good start in the group stages, but in terms of the Super 8s, the intensity, do you feel it's going to be very different? And there's also the first white ball tournament since South Africa won the World Test Championship. So do you think it's may bring about a difference in mindset, or just how do you see that in terms of the boys?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think the World Cup really starts now, even though we had a tough group. Now you face India, possibly Australia or Zimbabwe, and what's the other one, West Indies in our group. So it's really tough. It's going to be all good games. Yes, the pressure, there will be more pressure on those games because as you move later towards the playoffs. But I feel we've got a very experienced group, bowlers and batters, so guys that's been exposed to that, whether it's in IPL or other leagues. Yes, international cricket is a little bit different, but guys that can handle that pressure. So, I think they actually will thrive in those circumstances where there's a bit more pressure on the games. So not too worried.
Just one more. I don't know whether you've already answered it, but Morkel is the bowling coach of the Indian team. Any notes at all that you guys share about coaching? Or?
No, we don't talk to each other. I think my mother, she's more worried than us. She doesn't know who to support, India or South Africa. So.
Hi Albie, just wanted to talk about Devil Brevis. His form is a bit of a concern. He has just won 30 plus scores in his last 15 matches. What kind of chat did you guys have with him regarding this?
Like I said, there's no chats. I mean, we see him as an X-factor player. We feel if you sort of ask him to play a certain way, you take away that X-factor. And, he's going to break your heart at some stage, but he's also going to win your games. So the best way for us, with him is just to let him be that guy. We've got enough guys around him who can sort of, play the situation if needed, but he's certainly our X-factor player.
Hello, Albie. I have a two-part question for you. First is around Aiden. I mean, in first 33 innings in T20s, he didn't have any 50s, but in the last...
Excuse me, I'm talking about Aiden.
Aiden, yeah. But
Yes.
in the last 8 games, Aiden has played. He's got 4 half centuries, and that 50 against New Zealand was tough of legend. So just want to know from you that what kind of a change Aiden has gone in his mindset about opening the batting in T20s. And in addition to this, at the time of writing, South Africa have the highest run rate in T20 World Cup this so far. So what has been that change in approach, which is getting all the batters to, make runs heavily, or is there something else secret?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. You have to go and look back why. But, big tournament cricket, Aiden is a big tournament player. Most of our players had, good tournaments during the SA20. So you come into a World Cup with guys in form. I think that's important. And then, like I said, he knows when to step it up. Sometimes, and I don't want to play it down, but sometimes, playing a T20 series after a Test match series, the guys are a little bit fatigued, and that can, obviously have an influence on their performance. But even if you look at his record in the previous World Cup, he's one of the best batters. He's a good leader. He's well respected. So I think that's the big difference.
Albie, you've been around a long time, and you would have, seen and played through a lot of pressure situations, but it's obviously different as a coach. So how did you make that transition, and has somebody like a Stephen Fleming, I'm just assuming, had quite a big impact on your coaching style?
It's a good question. I think initially, when I started my coaching career, you still coach as a player, where you want to make a difference, but you can't be on the field. And I think you have to accept that fact and work out ways, because players are under pressure anyway. If you as a coach, want to make a difference in their games all the time, that doesn't help anyway. So it's sort of, finding that middle ground where you try to help, but you also not, as a coach, put pressure on players. They know what they're doing. If there's real technical things, then you can work at it. But not during tournament. I think my philosophy is, once you hit a World Cup like this and you start to tinker with technical stuff, that's when you confuse players, or players can get confused. So it's more, how can I actually take pressure off guys, make them believe in themselves, stuff like that. Stephen has been a big influence on that. I think, he's one of the only coaches, or maybe the only coach in the world who's been at a franchise for 17 years. That's unheard of. So it must mean he does something right. And I certainly learn a lot from him, yes.
Hi Albie, just a word on Lungi and Gidi. Two back-to-back player of the match performances, and just he's been one of the most improved bowlers in world cricket of late. He developed a skill that is working really well here, the slower ball. Just a word on the kind of conversations you've had since you joined in, and just what's it like?
Yeah, Lungi, if you look at his T20 record, he's got a really good record in taking wickets. He's developed a very deceptive slower ball, which he knows when to use and how to use. I think that's what makes him successful. He's not someone you can really line up as a batsman. He's got some good skills with the new ball to swing it, and when the pressure is on, he knows how to sort of keep the batsman guessing. So it's not a lot of talking to him. I think he knows what he's doing. He also understands that sometimes in T20 cricket it can go the other way. But lucky for us that those first two games he was on top of his game. Cheers.